This is a dramatic situation. We have to do everything possible to end the violence. Since he entered power in 2014, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, has been implementing a radical nationalist Hindu policy, which has had terrible consequences. Journalists, religious minorities, and human rights fighters. In India, millions of Muslims and Christians suffer every single day because the government violates their most fundamental rights. The situation is serious. That's why the European Parliament must vote tomorrow on a very clear resolution. It has to be clear in denouncing the nationalist discourse of Mr. Modi.
We should all be worried about the worsening human rights situation in India. Freedom of press has narrowed. Journalists and activists have been arrested for false reasons. Discrimination and hate have increased. And this is also what I saw personally when I visited India in December. This saddens me as India is a very important partner for us. EU and India have to make human rights and democracy a fundamental part of their partnership in all regards, including trade.
Our joint resolution is crystal clear. We are calling on India to do everything within its power to end ethnic and religious violence, to punish perpetrators and end Hindu extremism. Without ironclad guarantees in this area, then we cannot talk about a new trade agreement with India.
India is an important partner to the European Union, but if we as a Christian community can respect other faiths and identities, we must ask our partners to do the same. I propose an urgent visit by the European Special Envoy for Religious Freedoms to India, and the way Indian government will treat this proposal will show whether the authorities there are for the time being only powerless in such cases, or whether they knowingly allow persecution of religious minorities by radical groups.
And for political leaders to refrain from making inflammatory statements. They should impartially mediate tensions and reject any nationalistic rhetoric. Today, let us send a clear message. The EU holds a powerful tool in trade policy, and we demand the integration of human rights into our EU-India partnership.
Indian officials often like to boast that the country is the world's largest democracy. Intolerance and violence against religious minority paint a different picture. These attacks against Christians are not isolated incidents. They are organized, leaving behind destruction and shattered lives. The EU cannot close its eyes to this crime.
With this resolution from the European Parliament, we call on the most populous democracy in the right just to do what it is duty-bound to do in its constitution, to maintain religious freedom also for Christians in Manipur.
Despite the gravity of the situation, authorities are not taking sufficient action and fostering peace dialogues, while the Manipur Tribal Forum's plea for protection of the Kuki tribe by the Indian Army has been rejected by the Supreme Court.